Hello everyone, my name is Brian Roberts and I am your MuseScore guru. This video is going to be about how to set the tempo of a particular project and modify it, or have multiple tempos throughout a piece. So there's a couple different ways we can go about doing this. Right now I have MuseScore open where nothing is viewable. This is just completely blank. It is the white room of the matrix. So we're going to want to get a new project started. Any layout that you have, you can always get a new project started by going up to File and hitting New. Okay, so we'll do it that way. Excuse me. Okay, so you can enter in all this stuff. I'm just going to kind of breeze through it, but once you get to this final page where it's gonna get you to finish, you can't hit any more next. You could actually just check the box here that says tempo and put the tempo to whatever BPM you like. It is sensitive. If you just do ticks, it just does by 1, but it is sensitive to the 10th, like so. Okay, but yeah, so you can set the tempo like that, and if you hit finish, you have a new project. And right there you have your tempo of 121. Okay, so that's how you can get it going when you start a new project. But let's say you didn't do that and you wanted to put something in. So the first thing you're going to need is to make sure that you have your palette engaged. So up here at View, you're going to make sure that you have Palette. So we're going to click Palette, and there you go. So generally speaking, it's going to have all these drop down menus. You're going to go to the one that says Tempo, hit the arrow, and it'll have this drop down menu here for you. Here you have your different versions of tempo, but we're going to keep things very simple for today's video. We'll do the quarter note. So if you have nothing selected in your project here and you try to drag and drop or just double click or anything like that, nothing's going to happen. So you have to make sure that you either have a note or a rest or a measure highlighted, and then from there you can simply just jump over to the tempo that you want to get some skin in the game. Now, what if you want it at a different tempo than 80? Well, all you need to do is double click the item, highlight the numbers in question, and let's say we needed to get to 121 like before. So on my number pad on my keyboard, I just type 121, and then I click somewhere off in the distance, and now I have a song at 80 beats per minute. If I wanted to check and see the movement of that, I can just hit spacebar on my keyboard, and we can see that the cursor is moving pretty quick compared to if it was just there at 80. You can notice how it's moving a lot slower. Okay, so that's how you can set the tempo of a particular area. Just to kind of talk about another situation, maybe you have a song that changes tempo, or maybe it slows down or speeds up. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to chop these up into quarter notes, and I can do that a couple different ways. I think the most intuitive is rather than using hotkeys, is to make sure that you have your note input viewable. So we're going to go up here to View, and we're going to make sure that we have Workspaces, Toolbars, Note Input. And so that's going to put this bar here that gives us all our notes. So we're going to just chop these up into quarters. And you can essentially touch each one of these and set a new tempo for every single one. So let's say we want it to gradually slow down, like meticulously. So every beat it's going to drop, and here I am just dropping it down by 1 beat per minute. And I can keep going back and forth here if I'd like, but you can just do the good old-fashioned copy-paste trick. You know, Control-C, Control-V for copy and paste. So 78. 77. So this is kind of like how to manually build a retardando if you want something to slow down. It's pretty tedious, of course, but this is a surefire way to make sure that the machine spits out a slower tempo. Okay, so lots of different implications here, but that's how you do it. And it's slowing down ever so slowly through each beat as it goes through there. And what's nice about this feature too is that you can actually touch the tempo marking, and down here in the bottom left it's going to tell you, oops, it's going to tell you where it is. So the tempo marking I have highlighted is on the first measure of the fourth beat, which means it's this one, first measure of the fourth beat, down here in the little corner here. It kind of gives you the information of whatever you're touching. So if I touch the very first one, it's going to say first measure, first beat, measure 1, beat 1. Yeah. So that's how you create and edit tempo markings. But most importantly, this question came spurred from a training situation. So if we, I don't already have this queued up, so all apologies. But if we take a look at a song that you've already worked on or already have downloaded, and maybe it already has tempo markings in it, you can actually adjust them. So let me open it up real quick. So this came about with my student having a hard time with this section over here, and I mentioned, hey, you know, we can actually just go in there and slow the song down. Now you can globally change the tempo of a song just by the first tempo marking, and it will stay at this tempo until it hits another tempo marking. In this case, I have one already here. I'm just going to go ahead and delete that to keep things simple. So that's gone now. So this song's at a pretty slow 66, but there's a lot of fast notes in it relative to what it's doing. So if we wanted to slow the song down, and I'm going to get our playback controls. I'm going to get our metronome here working so we can hear. Right, so you can hear that. Dun, dun, dun. So it's at a kind of at a tempo, right? If I want it to be slower, I can just double click, highlight, and change it to something slower. And I believe we were working at 50 beats per minute today. So you can see how that's significantly slower. Alternatively, you can just leave everything as is, and if you're only struggling with one spot, you can just temporarily set your tempo marker a new one. Make sure that you're actually clicking where you want it to be, and you can just set the tempo to that there. And what this will do is that everything leading up to it will still have that initial global, you know, whatever number, 66, and so you should be able to hear it drop once we get there. Okay, watch it slow down right here. See how much slower I'm. So you don't have to do it globally, you can just do it at the area that you like. So that's how you set tempos, folks. You can do it by opening up a new file and going through the prompts like so. Oops. Just put whatever. Going through the prompts and then checking this box that says tempo, and voila, you'll have what you need. If you made a boo-boo, just double click it and change it to whatever number you like. If later on in the song that it's a tempo change, then you just make sure you have something clicked on the system and make sure you can see the palette. If you don't have the palette, you won't be able to adjust the tempo. So there you go, folks. That's how it's kind of a basic understanding of tempo. If you have any questions about this kind of thing, leave it in the comments below and I'll make you a video to explain it. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.